Previously on Pride of the Beast manga, Chapter 1 was the prelude which set up the circumstances behind Gohan and Vegeta's fight. To give a very brief recap, Goku and Vegeta were summoned by Bulma to return to Earth on Gohan's request. After they returned, the young man explained to the pair about the danger the Earth recently faced with Cell Max and the mysterious new power he awakened during the conflict. Vegeta requested to face the hybrid Saiyan to test his new strength. Ultimately, Vegeta pushed Gohan to his limits, which unleashed the horrifying power of the beast. This is where Chapter 2 begins. Gohan had just erupted in power, revealing the majesty of his erratic and wild beast state. Vegeta was left speechless, questioning how in the world Gohan was capable of unleashing such power. Similarly, Goku looks on in astonishment as he had no idea Gohan was able to reach a level of strength like this. As Gohan stares intensely at the prince, Vegeta can only recoil from the pressure. However, in an instant, before Vegeta can even prepare any defenses, Gohan appears behind him. Despite being in his Super Saiyan Blue evolution state, Vegeta cannot even react as he is ruthlessly pummeled by his foe. A blow to the face, a punch to the gut. Gohan unleashes terrific attacks with unimaginable power and speed. As Gohan disappears once more, Vegeta senses the incoming attack, reprimanding his opponent for thinking he couldn't keep up with his speed. Yet, it didn't matter. Even if Vegeta could perceive his foe, he had no way of retaliating or defending himself at his current level. The raw strength of this feral beast surpassed even the power of the gods. Or could it? As Gohan slams Vegeta straight down into the earth, a massive crater is formed. From the smoke and dust, the face of Vegeta is revealed. However, he is not wincing from pain or looking on in terror. He seems delighted, happy even. As Gohan peers into the maddening eyes of Vegeta, he gasps. The prince's eyes flash crimson and a sinister chuckle is heard. The laughter echoes across the wasteland, growing louder and louder, crescendoing into a fever pitch as the blue, tranquil aura of Super Saiyan Blue shifts to one of chaotic, purple energy. Vegeta erupts in an enormous pillar of powerful purple light, shining out from the crater which pushes Gohan back. As Gohan shields himself from the radiant eruption, he sees the figure of a man chortling with pure glee. The laughter stops as the demented man cracks his neck forward, a malicious smile forming across his face. His hair spiked into a brilliant purple hue. Filled to the brim with excitement from facing such a beast, Vegeta unleashes the horrifying power of destruction. As the violent, violet light stretches out beyond the planet's surface, it suddenly stops. Vegeta manages to calm himself, his aura dissipating and his arms outstretched. Ultra Ego Vegeta had revealed himself. The battlefield is quiet for a moment as Vegeta simply floats in the air. But then, his head turns, locking eyes once more with the foe who excited him so much. Gohan prepares himself, mentioning to himself that he had managed to train himself to the point of being able to detect the Key of Gods. Yet, improving his senses has only made him painfully aware of the amount of power Vegeta was executing now. Almost as if reading his mind, Vegeta guesses aloud that Gohan is capable of detecting his ki by this point. As he questions Gohan on what kind of power he's exhibiting, he fumbles around in his pockets and pulls out a ring. He puts it on as he declares that this is the power of a god of destruction. Have you ever thought about buying a figurine, any sort of anime merch, manga, and more from one of your favorite Dragon Ball characters but can't really find a site that suits your needs? Well, JD World is the answer you're looking for. At JD World, you can find Dragon Ball's latest merchandise, ranging from a very unique Cyberman tissue box to an awesome Orange Piccolo Ichiban Kuji. You can even find some incredible collectible cards from Dragon Ball superheroes and other special card collections from the franchise. But JD World is not only for Dragon Ball merch. So if you're also interested in some other big hits within the anime community such as One Piece, Kimetsu no Yaiba, and so on, you will also find amazing figurines and all kinds of merchandise at JD World. And remember, if you are interested in buying at JD World, you can find all the information you need in the description, as well as a 10% discount on your first order with the DBS Hype 10 code and a 5% discount on all your orders with the DBS Hype 5 code. In a comedic internal monologue, Vegeta expresses his frustration at having to put on his ear cuff every time he enters his Ultra Ego state. If he could get away with it, he'd never put it on. But Lord Beerus demands he does so as to prove to everyone he is indeed using destruction energy. Vegeta fears Beerus and how he'd react if he ever saw him without his ear cuff, lamenting that, even with all this power, he still has to subject himself to the whims of a wandering cat. From far, far away, Beerus sneezes as he wonders aloud if someone was talking about him. With his mind shifting back to the fight at hand, Vegeta stretches out his hands to the side, inviting Gohan to face him once more. Gohan obliges, dashing forward with unparalleled speed as he prepares another devastating kick. However, this time, Vegeta is able to block the strike, creating a massive shockwave across the wasteland. Both Gohan and Vegeta prepare ki blasts in their free hands, pushing them towards each other as an intense, close-range ki clash blinds the entire arena. A massive mushroom cloud of smoke and ash bellows into the sky, and from out of it, the mysterious Gohan beast emerges from it completely unharmed. Yet, he wasn't alone. Following close behind him was the destroyer Vegeta, hot on his tail. The battle continues in the sky as Vegeta finally manages to land one solid punch across Gohan's jaw. Gohan was undeterred as he retaliated with a kick straight to Vegeta's face. However, Vegeta doesn't flinch, merely moving his back and smirking in delight. The pair roar as they unleash an intense flurry of blows. From down below, Goku can only stare in amazement. He couldn't believe that Gohan was fighting Vegeta on equal footing. It was incredible. A single sweat bead drips down his face as Goku chuckles nervously. He could only hope that the Earth was capable of withstanding a battle of this magnitude and scale. The godly clash ends with both fighters landing their fists on each other's faces. The pair can only marvel at each other's strength. Gohan can't understand how Vegeta could reach this level when only recently in the battles against Moro, his limit was just Super Saiyan Blue. Meanwhile, Vegeta exclaims happily that this is what a true battle between Saiyans should feel like. At that moment, Gohan cups his hands, red and blue energy swirling together like a wild typhoon. He unleashes an awesome, beastly Kamehameha. Vegeta's eyes widen as the blast approaches him, engulfing the prince completely. Or had it. Gohan suddenly turns around in shock as Vegeta suddenly appears beside him. With his fingers placed on his forehead, Vegeta shouts in disgust. Did Gohan really expect an attack like that to beat him? Using the instant transmission he learned from Elder Paibara on planet Yardrat, Vegeta had evaded the Kamehameha. Vegeta clenches his fist, uppercutting Gohan and sending him flying. Vegeta quickly follows up the assault by catching up to his foe and slamming a mighty double axe handle strike. As Gohan is shot down to the earth, Vegeta prepares to unleash a potent ki blast. However, Gohan opens his eyes as he catches himself in midair, recovering with grace as he retorts angrily. Vegeta shouldn't underestimate him either. Vegeta fires his ki blast straight at Gohan, but the mighty fighter does not waver. Instead, he grabs the incoming attack with a single hand. Gohan shouts out, declaring that he already said he shouldn't be underestimated. He throws the blast right back at Vegeta, who can only look on in shock. The Prince of Destruction braces for impact as the ki blast lands true, erupting in a brilliant indigo explosion. But, as the dust settles and Vegeta composes himself, he suddenly bolts up, looking towards the sky as he sees none other than Gohan. Charging another powerful blast, Gohan unleashes a devastating Makan Kosapo at point-blank range. Gohan releases the beam, the same one he used to destroy Cell Max not so long ago, as Vegeta stares it down. In a split-second decision, Vegeta decides to take the blast head-on, but making sure to control how much damage he'll receive, lest he put himself into any unnecessary danger. Using his immense strength, Vegeta roars as he grabs onto the spiraling attack as if he were grabbing the horns of an incoming raging bull. He lifts up his hands with reckless abandon, sending the special beam cannon careening towards the sky. Vegeta was greatly hurt, but alive and more delighted than ever before. Gohan grits his teeth, wondering if Vegeta had become stronger than before. Does he get stronger the longer he fights? That couldn't be the case. Vegeta only got stronger after being hit with a Makan Kosapo. As Vegeta grins madly and lunges with unhinged ferocity, Gohan decides that he must end this fight as soon as possible. Unfortunately for the hybrid Saiyan, Vegeta would not let him get a chance to breathe. Vegeta lands a powerful punch which Gohan blocks. However, with his free hand outstretched, Vegeta fires a ki ball filled with swirling purple, malicious energy. Hakai! A blinding violet light engulfs Gohan as he screams in pain. Every single cell in his body contorting in fear as the destroyer energy seeks to eradicate the young man until nothing is left. As Gohan continues to be swallowed by the destroyer energy, Goku can only whisper his son's name. Gohan closes his eyes, calling out for his father. In his dying moments, Gohan flashes back to moments in time, to memories of his father and the numerous times he saved him from an evil threat. Gohan recalls the many instances his father had to save him, wondering how many more times will Goku have to save him in the future. No. Gohan's eyes bolt open, his energy surging as the Hakai energy is immediately dispersed. Gohan roars at the top of his lungs, "Never again!" Vegeta watches as Gohan stumbles forward. The Hakai didn't kill him, but did a large amount of damage. In a moment of surprising concern, Vegeta asks Gohan if he'd like to stop here for now. Personally, he thinks Gohan can go even further. Honestly, he believes neither Gohan nor himself have truly gone all out, or was simply increasing his power too much for the hybrid warrior. As Gohan looks at his hands, Vegeta's words echo across his mind. What was this feeling of immense euphoria he was experiencing? The seeming lack of fear? Vegeta explains that what he's feeling at this moment is his Saiyan blood stirring, boiling in the heat of battle. Yet, Vegeta also declares that this unique Saiyan feeling doesn't make him any less of an Earthling. Instead, he believes that it's finally time for Gohan to embrace both sides of his lineage, the human and the Saiyan. He could finally become both. Gohan roars once more, erratic indigo electricity dancing across his body in jubilation. Vegeta shouts out as well, his aura sparking up in response to the beast's call. Their immense auras shoot up towards the skies, parting the clouds as if their energies were resonating with each other. Vegeta smirks with pride, declaring that there he was once again. This was the one who faced Cell all those years ago, the one he respected. Gohan smiles awkward at the sudden compliment, thanking Vegeta for saying such a thing. But Vegeta, ever the Saiyan warrior, gets into a battle stance, barking out that they were still in the middle of a fight. He shouldn't say such nonsense. Don't thank his opponent. Simply fight with all your might. The two warriors of Earth burst forward in an illuminous silver and purple light. They were charging so much energy, so much power. They were bursting at the seams with the power they were about to unleash. From the sidelines, Goku begged them to stop. The two strongest Saiyans the universe had ever seen had their fists clenched, ready to strike, unafraid of the consequences. And then, their fists clash once again. The sound of shattering glass fills the wasteland as time seemingly stops. In a fraction of a second, reality had shattered. Gohan and Vegeta were no longer on Earth. They were floating in seemingly nothingness. Surrounding them was the very fabric of reality, composed of nothing but lights of many different shapes and sizes. As Gohan ponders what this place actually is, Vegeta merely chuckles. With no Earth to worry about, this would be the perfect site for their battle. They could truly go all out. The battle resumes in another flurry of blows as their strikes shake this space outside of time and reality. Punch after punch, kick after kick, blow after blow. Each mortifying attack did untold damage to the Saiyans, but their warrior spirit never wavered for a single moment. All they cared about at this moment was the fight, the feeling of fighting to your heart's content. This is what it meant to be a Saiyan. This is what it meant to be alive. As the battle reaches its climax, Vegeta lets Gohan know that this next attack will decide everything. Gohan charges two enormous, burning red ki balls in his hands. Vegeta decides not to underestimate Gohan again, preparing all of his energy into this final blast. Purple miasma mixes throughout Vegeta's body, gathering every last bit of destroyer energy into his hands, building up more and more ki. The pair continue gathering every last drop of ki that they can muster, struggling to hold it all together. Then, in one final, mighty roar, Gohan screams out, "Beast Masenko!" In response, Vegeta yells into the abyss, "Hakai Final Flash!" The two intense, oppressive beams capable of wiping out entire universes collide into each other. The destructive, omnipresent destroyer energy and the uncontrollable, unrelenting power of the beast. Both beams continued pushing against each other, neither one being able to overpower the other. The unknown space the two fighters found themselves in was starting to crack. They couldn't handle this kind of power anymore. As the two beams continued to push against each other, Vegeta and Gohan stare each other down, neither of them willing to give up. As the space around them continues to crack, we cut back to Earth as Goku attempts to detect their key signature. Goku opens his eyes, deciding that he simply cannot feel Vegeta nor Gohan's ki anymore. It was as if they simply vanished into thin air. He recalls this happening once before, when he first fought Broly years ago as Gogeta. Vegeta and Gohan were in that exact same mysterious space. A space between the folds of reality that was on the verge of falling apart at the seams. As the godly beams clash continue, it finally seems like Vegeta's Hakai Final Flash was about to overwhelm Gohan's Beast Masenko. Gohan grits his teeth in frustration as Vegeta's smile spreads across his face. Yet, despite it all, Gohan's warrior soul erupts once more. Son Gohan, the son of Goku and the greatest defender of Earth, shouts out that he will never surrender. He will never lose again. The Beast Masenko bulges, expanding outwards as it threatens to overtake the Final Flash. Vegeta roars, pumping out the last remnants of his energy as the two beams expand in one final, desperate attempt to eliminate the other with overwhelming force. The crimson and violet lights melt together into a blinding light, engulfing the entire void. Back on Earth, as Goku folds his arms and sighs, the Saiyan wonders if he'll be in trouble for not coming back home with Gohan. Would Chi-Chi punish him by withholding his food? At that moment, two pairs in reality appear as what appears to be two rockets shoot out from them with unimaginable speed. Goku gasps in fright and surprise as two craters are left etched into the wasteland. From the dust, Vegeta emerges first. Reduced back to his base state and covered head to toe in injuries, Vegeta barely finds the strength to stand back up. He had calculated how much energy his body could take in order to maximize the effectiveness of his Ultra Ego state, yet he messed up badly. He could have never been able to predict just how far Gohan had come. His power was capable of rivaling his own. Vegeta laments that he no longer had the strength to fight. It was over. Then, just as he finishes this thought, the imposing figure of Gohan appears standing before him, as defiant and powerful as ever, charging one more Kamehameha. And that's all we have for now. As of the time of this writing, this is the latest page that has been released for Chapter 2. But wow, what a chapter it has been so far. This entire section of the story has been action-packed and is filled with so many gorgeous shots and fight scenes. As mentioned in the previous review for Chapter 1, the art is immaculate. The line work is impressive, the shading is top-notch, and the attention to detail is out of this world. It all melts together to provide a spectacular visual experience. When it comes to Dark Hans, you never have to worry about the quality of his artwork. In regards to the story, there has been a noticeable, substantial difference when compared to the previous chapter. As Chapter 1 was a prologue that focused on establishing the main characters and the circumstances behind their fight, there was more of a focus on the character development on Gohan and his dynamic with Vegeta. However, Chapter 2 was almost exclusively focused on Gohan and Vegeta's battle in their strongest forms. If Chapter 1 was all about setting up the characters and the setting, then Chapter 2 was all about the titular fight between Gohan Beast and Ultra Ego Vegeta. While there are important plot points that are explored, such as Vegeta's reveal of Ultra Ego and Gohan's continued character development by refusing to give up despite the odds, the chapter focuses far more on the action and the flow of the battle rather than a traditional story structure, and I think that's great. As mentioned before, we already had Chapter 1 to establish who Gohan and Vegeta are, as well as the dynamic they share and the conflict they both face. Chapter 2 is all about the fight, and by God is it a marvel to witness. Dark Hans really elevated his storytelling and paneling in this chapter. As the battle takes the center stage in this chapter, the paneling and fight choreography is absolutely key in making sure the audience is engaged due to the lack of traditional story beats. Thankfully, Dark Hans was more than capable of meeting this challenge. The stellar artwork is enhanced by dynamic movements and poses of each fighter as the audience witnesses the various stages this battle goes through, almost as if the fight was evolving with each new page. The action is clear to see and the paneling is simple to follow. Although I must admit that there were a few moments where the action moves so fast, I had to reread certain panels to figure out what exactly happened. Additionally, in my original review, I critiqued Darkhans for his habit of implementing massive white text boxes which would sometimes block a major portion of his art in a given panel. While some of that can still be found in Chapter 2, I'm happy to report that this issue has been heavily toned back. Whether it be due to the fact that there is simply less dialogue in this chapter, or that Darkhans was able to space his speech bubbles in better positions, there are far less instances of this problem in Chapter 2. Perhaps it's a little of both reasons. Overall, I believe that Chapter 2 is a significant shift in the story with a major focus on the action as the battle between Gohan and Vegeta reaches a whole new level. If you are a fan of the action and the artwork, which I am, then you'll absolutely adore this chapter. The story focuses less on traditional storytelling and instead favors on following the flow or evolution of the battle from its beginning to the various peaks and valleys a battle like this entails. If you prefer a more traditional style of storytelling with more dialogue and a focus on character dynamics or development, then you might prefer Chapter 1 instead. However, as a reminder, Chapter 2 is still not done yet, and at the time of this recording, there isn't any indication that the story will end with Chapter 2. The story of Gohan Beast and Ultra Ego Vegeta may continue much further in the future than we realize. I, for one, am excited for whatever new entry Darkhans will bring to the table. That reveal of Ultra Ego Vegeta with his maniacal laughter and that final beam clash in the dimensional void, those were some of the coolest and awe-inspiring moments of any Dragon Ball media I've ever seen. My review cannot do this story justice, so if you want to see what this manga is really about, go read it at Darkhan's Twitter or Instagram page. Then, you can draw your own conclusions. Tell us down in the comments who you think will win this fight. The wild and ferocious Gohan Beast? Or the destructive and prideful Ultra Ego Vegeta? Or perhaps neither of them will win. Only time will tell.